For all those of you who voted for President Trump, I understand the disappointment tonight. I've lost a couple times myself, but now let's give each other a chance.
Mr. Biden has spent a lot of time calling for unity, but it definitely goes both ways. Check out this Twitter exchange between Megyn Kelly and California Congressman Ted Lieu. He says the president told immigrants like me should go back to their country. Then Congressman Lieu asked what would be fair and how he should feel. Megyn's response: he and Republican voters have a right to their anger, and that Biden needs to start the work on unity at home with AOC and the media. Megyn Kelly, my good friend, welcome back.
Hi, good to see you.
I'm blown away at how all of a sudden they want unity on the left when they've spent the last 4 years calling everyone who's a Trump supporter misogynist or homophobic or xenophobic or bigoted, or the list goes on and on. Your thoughts?
It reminds me of that scene in Goodfellas, you know, the movie Goodfellas, where Ray Liotta is like stabbing the guy in the back of his trunk over and over and over. If like he stopped at the end and the guy was still hanging on to life and he's like, you know what, never mind, we're good, right? No hard feelings. Like, it's just lovely in theory. You know, I was saying the other day, like, I also want all the puppies and all the kittens to be adopted and world peace, but it's not going to happen. The country's extremely divided. Yes, in part because what President Trump has said and done over the past 4 years, and also very much because of what the Democrats have said and done over the last 4 years. And I realize Joe Biden wants unity now that he's in power, and the Democrats who have been launching all these verbal assaults on all Republican voters over the past couple of years are like, yes, now's the time. But let's get real. When you tell 71 million Americans they're racists, bigots, homophobes, transphobes, and sexists year after year, and that you're going to make enemies lists of anybody who supported Trump, they're not really feeling unified with you. They're not going to get behind your agenda.
I want to get back to that enemies list in just a second, but I was, anecdotally, I was doing a hit with BBC, and the other guy it was he against right against left. I was on the right. Michael Moore, filmmaker Michael Moore, is on the left, and the host kept saying, "Well, Michael, would you be willing to reach across the aisle to the Trump supporters?" And he kept going at Trump supporters, generalizing all Trump supporters, saying that we are white supremacists. And I kept saying, I'm not white. I denounce white supremacy. Why is it because I like lower taxes? I like the guy in the office. They can't get over it. They just can't get over it. I mean, how much more disgusting, how much more evil can you be to claim someone, a group, is a white supremacist just because they support a guy they don't like?
I don't even think people really should get upset about it anymore. I mean, this is like these far lefties, and I don't include progressives, normal liberals in that, though most of whom are my friends. Virtually all my friends are liberals. I live on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. But the leftists, capital L, they think you're a white supremacist if you're white. If you read Robin DiAngelo's, White Fragility, it's basically, if you have white skin, it's a problem that you'll never get over, and the only thing you can do is just try to be less white. So that's who you're dealing with, right? Like, you cannot listen to these people call names anymore. But I think the average American still gets very jarred when they hear these nasty terms, which are meant to silence you. And the only real choice you have is to stand up and not be silenced, and not think you have to unify with the people who have been calling you the awful things and trying to shut you up. I was saying on my show the other day, my podcast, maybe now's not the time for unity. Maybe now's the time for liberty. For fighting to maintain your right to think what you want, to say what you want, to do what you want, to uphold the ideals that are important to you.
I think you're right. And I think there shouldn't be a time. It should be overwhelming. It should be all the time. Megyn, Jake Tapper put up a screen this week showing the senators who had not congratulated presumptive President-elect Joe Biden yet. That seems gross. That doesn't even seem like journalism to me.
I think it's funny. Single tear. No one called to say congratulate. I mean, come on. Is it slow news week? It must be, because they're doing nighttime stories on a couple of tweets I've sent out. Like, they don't have anything to talk about. The election's over. They're trying to keep their viewers reeled in. Once again, they should be thanking Trump for keeping at least one storyline going. No one cares who's called to congratulate. No one. Maybe people on CNN do. I don't think any normal person cares about that. The election hasn't been certified yet. They don't have to call anybody. Al Gore kept it going for a month and a half. Once it's been certified, you can have all the congratulations calls you want. Then we'll talk. But right now, there's still a contest. Trump's entitled to play this out the way he wants, and he's got some lawsuits pending. Let's see what happens after those are resolved.
Let's talk about that. You brought it up, the Trump Accountability Project. There's a group that says if you've ever worked for Trump, you shouldn't be able to earn a paycheck in D.C. anymore. Your thoughts on some of that?
Here's what I think that's insane. Okay. By the way, the Associated Press has just come out with a memo saying you can't say insane or crazy anymore or nuts because you're a bigot. I guess if you don't like people with mental, whatever. It's insane. Okay, it's insane. But it's even more insane than it first looks because it's not just people who worked in the Trump administration. It's any quote enabler. So guess what that means? The voters. People who supported President Trump. Even, my imaginary viewer in Iowa, Madge, she's an enabler. And she's going to get on their list. And they're threatening people's jobs. They're going to try to stop corporate America from hiring you if you've been dubbed a Trump enabler. And there was one guy who's part of the project who sent a direct message to any publishing house, as one example, that if you publish a book by a Trump supporter, enabler, or someone who worked in the administration, not only will they boycott that book, they're going to boycott every book in the publisher's library. And at the same time, unity. A nation healed. Well,
yeah, isn't that like kind of the same thing as racism? If you group a whole group of people the same way, that'd be racist or whatever-ist. They're doing the same thing. If you're a Trump reporter, go ahead.
Try to silence you, right?
Yeah.
They don't. Maybe they are just that vindictive to try to stop Madge from getting a job, okay, or a book deal. Maybe they are, but I actually think what they're trying to do is they see those numbers, 71 million, 74 million, the country split right down the middle, and they're trying to find an effective way to scare that 71 million into silence. This is not even just about Trump anymore. It's about what you stand for. Do you want Joe Biden to reintroduce critical race theory mandatory sessions in your federal agencies, DHS and Treasury and elsewhere where you're told you just have to sit in the silence of your racism if you're white and just let somebody berate you? That's the crazy cancel culture that the, again, established left is pushing is worth fighting against. And sane people on the left and the right are uniting around this. And I think the Democrats are going to have to come to understand that if they continue to push all that woke BS that I think helped cost them the House, the seats they wanted in the House, cost them the Senate, and cost them down ballot, they're going to be in for a whole lot more world of hurt. No one responds well to you're going on a list.
Just about 30 seconds or so, and I notice, feel free not to weigh in on this if you don't want to, it just blew me away. Cavuto over at Fox News the other day cut off a press conference by Kayleigh McEnany from the White House briefing room. Blew me away, just blew my mind, because are journalists now deciding what American people can hear as news from the briefing room in the White House, and should they?
No, I was shocked by that. And I thought it was really out of line. Sorry, Neil, but I thought it was really out of line. You don't get to shut up the president or the White House press secretary because you think what she's saying is untrue. Imagine if we had done that during the Obama years, as he was out there saying, if you like your plan, you can keep your plan. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, which was a lie. And he knew it was a lie when he was saying it. And so did we. But we let him say it. And then we would try to correct it after the fact. That's what a journalist is supposed to do. Neil Cavuto is not my daddy. I can handle hearing the words, then he can tell me what he thinks is actually true, then I can make up my own mind. That's how it was supposed to be. We report, you decide. That's what needs to happen. All
right, Megyn, always appreciate your time. Always good having you on. Again, the Megyn Kelly podcast is right up there, top. I don't know, last time I checked, you were number 7 in the world. That's fantastic. Megyn Kelly, all the success in the world. Wish to you.
Thank you, my friend.